So many people put such emphasis on the outcome, which is very, very important. That's your North Star. But if you don't hit that outcome, it doesn't mean you failed, because the habits, knowledge, consistency, the discipline that you build along the way, that's actually the real win.
It's fucking hard trying to grow a business and scale and manage cash flow and hire and fire and do business processes. It's hard, right? But what also is hard is going to work 40, 45 hours a week in a shit job with a shit manager surrounded by shit people. And then you get to the weekend, if you want to go and ride jet skis all weekend, but you look at the bank and you haven't got the capacity to do it, that's hard.
Fucking spoiler alert, you'll never feel ready. So if you wait until you feel ready, you're never going to do it. When you try and climb that mountain in very, very small chunks, those small chunks and milestones, you get there and it feels good. So you do the next one, and then you do the next one, and then you look back, and that whole entire mountain that you've climbed, if you'd have tried with the end goal where you are today, if you'd have set that as your goal at day one, you'd never have done it. And we are back. Two blokes, one business. I'm your host, Harvey Rivers, and I'm with my co-host, Adam Powell.
Thank you, Harvey, for the kind introduction today. Really looking forward to today's episode. Thanks for having me on.
And first up, we've got Lionel Richie.
That felt weird to say.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Bloody hell,
but
mate.
You know what? This podcast today I'm going to be talking about, really timely, because the fucking person I've become now by doing what I've just been doing on Whimsical for blow your brains. So Whimsical is like this SOP mapping system, right, that our AI fellas got us doing so we can map out all our processes. And it's one of them where you sit there, you put the oval in, you put the start is, CV received via email, arrow down into the rectangle, and then it go into a diamond, which is a question. So I stood there, literally head in my hands, going, "Fuck, how are we going to do this?" But
So what you're telling me is you've just basically been on paint all morning, drawing pictures.
But you know what I'm trying to say is the person I've become now, since 2 hours ago, is a way better person than I was, because I fixed it.
Mate, this is elite. This is good shit. Fuck. And I had to do an introduction to the pod because Ads is impatient, and whenever we sit down, he's like, "Right, I'll get us going." So the person I've become by doing that is better than the person I was 15 minutes ago.
All right, put them out of their misery. What's the key topic? What are the world's challenges that we're solving today?
So today we want to speak about the person that you become on the way to achieving, or at least trying to achieve, your goals. And what we mean by that is so many people put such emphasis on the outcome, which is very, very important. That's your North Star. But if you don't hit that outcome, it doesn't mean you failed, because the habits, the knowledge, the consistency, the discipline that you build along the way, whether that's a fitness goal, whether that's a diet, whether that's business, what you build and the person you become along the way, that's actually the real win.
You sound very wise, right? That's a man who's been through a few challenges and come out the other side of it.
Thanks.
Was that the thinking you had before? I guess Harwell 100% is a challenge. Maybe that's a good one to use. I know the marathon you kind of can't stop talking about, and you're itching to talk about today as well.
What's that, sorry?
Didn't you run like 42Ks or so?
Oh, yeah, the marathon. I did. Yeah, I did run a marathon.
Was that your thinking going into it? Or if you didn't complete the marathon, would you have felt like you failed?
Great question. So let me take you back to a long time ago, because I've always been a sucker for setting a goal. Like, you used to take the piss and laugh, here we go, another bloody challenge. And back then I used to put so much emphasis on the outcome. Like, it was, unless I completed it, it was a failure. And that was quite damaging. Like, it's a bit of head noise, right? Because you can achieve running the marathon, right? My target was sub 4 hours. Now, the old Harv, if I'd have ran 4 hours, 1 minute, that would have been failure. 6 months of hard graft and training, in my head, I would have deemed as a failure. So what I had to actually remember is that running the marathon on its own is the feat, and actually take all the wins and all the improvements of me as a person along the way. But I've only learned to do that more recently. I think the work where we've invested in doing a lot of mindset and psychology work with people like Jess Cameron and speaking to people like Mel Taitimu, I've learned to focus on the journey as well as the outcome, and actually celebrate and acknowledge the wins along the way, and not just that final outcome. Does that help?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. No, I get it. Do you reckon that if you'd have got 401 this time, you would be as zen as you sound, or would you still be inside going, oh, fuck?
I'd be pissed. Yeah, I do think I would not as bad as what I used to be. I'd have been pissed off on the day. But again, now looking back and feeling a bit wiser, what that training program did for me, like I didn't drink, which meant I was so much sharper and more focused at work. I was able to be a better business partner. I was able to be a better partner. You know, along that journey, we brought our second child into the world, and we don't have much support around here. Like we've got good groups of friends, but do many of those friends have kids that are in the same boat as us? Absolutely not. So I felt like I was a much better partner to Britt. I was a much better dad to Blake because I was so much more energetic and present. That was the real magic for me. And I think I did feel myself slipping into being more outcome focused throughout that training, because on the runner app, you're hitting good times and it's going, oh, your new target time is 3:45. And I'm like, yeah, let's go. And I've just gone, no, mate, just remember what your initial goal was, because otherwise you just slip back into, if I did not hit that 3:45 and hit a 3:46, that's 14 minutes quicker than what I set out to do, but I'd have been pissed off. So I felt like I'd prepped myself along the way. I was picking up on those kind of damaging traits. So I think I would have been okay.
Oh, that's cool. And why is this a good episode then? Why we pick this? What are we trying to talk to? Who are we trying to impact with this one?
We want to put emphasis on the journey and probably how we've got here through smaller steps along the journey, because I used to be really guilty of this as well. You look at someone's day 10,000 and you're at day 0, and you just, one, it either doesn't feel achievable, or you're just constantly pissed off because you're not doing what they did at day 1,000, where actually you just need to focus on getting to day 50. When we started Harwell, was the plan to be sat here with a podcast, a soon-to-be team of 10, another business we're about to launch? None of that was even in our headspace. What our goal was at the time was break away from big corporate and give a much better service and experience for people within our sector in recruitment on the Gold Coast. That was the goal number one. So that's why we want to unearth the journey and kind of probably going through those smaller steps to get to the end goal, because otherwise it can be quite underwhelming, would you say?
The people who decided to start Harwell, me and you two and a bit years ago, did not have the capacity, the knowledge, the stress reducing methods, the emotional capacity to run a team of 10, have a podcast, and have this other business as well. So you've almost got to kind of, it sounds just obvious, right? You've got to go through the work to become the person who actually can handle that. Because I know me personally, like people management is not what I wanted to do. That's kind of why I was leaving that big corporate, because there was the pressure to, oh, we've been doing it for years. Why don't you train the newbie? And I'm like, well, no, I don't want to. So yeah, 2 years ago, if we decided, hey, this is the path you're on, in 2 years' time, you're going to have potentially a team of 10. You're going to then have a new business, which you're going to require staff, which you're going to have to lead and manage, the podcast even. It would have turned me off rather than motivated me, because the person I am now, I can actually, I know I can do this. I know I'm actually half decent at it. I know managing in the way I want to do it actually is a good thing, rather than a bit of a KPI box tick exercise.
What do you think have been the steps along the way, those smaller steps? Because all of this shit, it didn't fucking happen overnight. The people we are today, you wouldn't recognize the guys that started Harwell, but it wasn't overnight, was it?
I think it's just, with great responsibility comes great power.
I knew you'd fucking get one in there. Let's have it. Talk us through that one, mate.
Oh, wait, there's the way around. That is the easiest quote in the whole world. You didn't even cock it either.
You say it with such conviction. Have you done?
Hell,
fucked it again.
That's so good.
Do you do it on purpose, just for like so we laugh and then people think the podcast is funny?
Oh, I don't know, mate. If it works, if it does anyway. But with great power comes great responsibility.
Rosie, can you Google that?
Shit, that's so good.
Can you confirm?
Oh God. Anyway, so what I mean by that is the bigger things have got, we've just had to step up. Like that we would have been the bottleneck then. If we got to a point a year ago where, okay, we've got too much work on, what a great problem to have. If we don't go and hire, which means then I've got to have the responsibility of managing people, that's going to be a massive detriment to the revenue that we can bring through the door, the service levels that we can offer our clients because of the workload we've got, and just the general vision of where we wanted to go. So it was quite an easy step then to take that next step further because the business was at a point where it needed it. 2 years ago when we first started, it wasn't at that point. So it felt a little bit scary and a little bit unneeded, unjustified. I was like, I don't need to go and look at managing a team of 10 because it's not in our world right now.
Yeah.
I think the closer you get to it, obviously the further you come along the way, but you then can do the trade-off of, okay, this next step, managing a team of 10, we use that example. The upside, the downside, the upside far outweighs it as well.
Yeah, I like it. I'm trying to think of a real good analogy that people can understand because it's easy for us to talk of our own personal experiences. I guess a favourite is that you don't get self-esteem from the abs, from the gym. You get self-esteem from going to the gym every single day. And when you actually look at it and break it down, when people do get in that routine, they get up at 4 or 5 a.m., whatever it might be, they go and do their run or their gym in the morning, they just feel like they can take on the world, right? The endorphins are flowing, their mood's better, they go into work and they're 5 or 10% higher or maybe even more than what they would be. That's what we're talking about. That's the journey. Because on day 1, 2, 3, 4, you haven't got the abs by this point, but you've become a better person just because you've started the journey. And that's where I think people really forget the small impacts. LSKD have a really, really cool value. It's 1% better every day. And it is plastered on their walls. I've walked around their office, their warehouse. It's everywhere. And I think to be honest, even some of their T-shirts, it's like, enjoy the journey. So they've got it nailed down.
I think one big thing that you spoke about a lot, which resonated and you went through that kind of period and transition into a bit more of a responsible bloke with a family and stuff from the old herb, was that self-trust, being able to say, this is what I'm going to do, and then actually go and do it. Set the goal, achieve the goal inside. You don't have to tell me or tell Brit or tell anyone in the world about it, but you know, in your head, you've said you're going to go to the gym at 5 a.m. on Monday morning. And now when the alarm goes off and it's, 4 o'clock, it might be raining, it might be cold outside, might have been up all night with Blake or Harper, that decision in your head then, okay, am I going to take the easy way out and let myself down? Or am I going to treat my promise to myself as everything and as important as it is? And you do that on the Monday. And then again, the Tuesday, the alarm goes off. Same decision. The more you can compound those wins, the easier then that decision comes to be. And the harder it becomes not to do it. Because if you let yourself down after 50 days of getting up every single time, the guilt then almost hurts you as well. Probably not the most healthy motivator, but I know the way we're wired is the guilt I'm going to feel by taking the easy or the wrong option outweighs the pain of actually doing the hard thing and taking the right option.
Yeah. The only way that you can always ensure that you're growing and can grow for the rest of your life is like the only person you should be in competition with is yourself. Because right now you could pick someone that's 3 years ahead of where you are. And there were people that we picked when we started Harwell. That's a really cool business. We want to achieve what they've done. So if you're in competition with them, some of those people we've now surpassed in terms of the size and the success of our business. So if you're just constantly fixated, what now we take our foot off the gas because that person we were in competition with, we've now got on the same level or slightly exceeded them. That's a really dangerous place to be. Whereas if we're only constantly in competition with ourselves, whether it's that, the going to the gym every morning, whether it's looking at reviewing our recruitment processes, instead of comparing it to some of the other companies where we know our recruitment process is better, we're going, okay, well, no, how can we make ours a little bit better? And you constant competition within yourself. It doesn't matter what level you reach. If you're then always trying to better that level, you can only grow.
How do you set high standards for yourself? Because I know, again, looking inwards, the professional football environment, naturally you're around high standards. And if you weren't there, you just weren't going to make it, right? So they're kind of ingrained in you. But if you just had a normal life where you're not necessarily that into sport, there's other things in your life, like art or whatever that interests you more, how do you hold yourself to high standards rather than just mediocrity and being average?
I think there's one step before that. I think if you're someone that is comfortable with mediocrity, what this podcast is about is trying to get people to go through, step into entrepreneurship, or at least gather the tools to step into entrepreneurship and become an elite high performer. If
You
you're
listen to
just
the wrong fucking podcast. You listen to the wrong pod.
yeah, this is the backward quote podcast.
Yeah.
If you're comfortable with mediocrity, I don't think it's for you. Then is that a cop out?
Yes, but then it also brings me to another quote.
Oh fucking
Yeah, actually, I hadn't even got the words of it, but it's along the lines of like, if you are happy living that mediocre life, you have fucking won. You have solved it. If you haven't got to torture yourself with always pushing for more and trying to do more and experiencing that feeling of unsatisfaction, if you are happy living that 9 to 5, go to the pub on the Saturday, watch the football on the Sunday, and go back to work on the Monday, if you're genuinely happy with that, you have won, my friend, because you've done it, right? Because all the other people, potentially like me and you, they're going to strive and they're going to push so hard to reach that happiness anyway. So if you're not wired that way, I might not agree with it, you might not agree with it in terms of the choices, but if someone is 100% satisfied with ticking over and just getting by week to week and having their group of mates and their missus or their partner or whatever and just living, rolling on year to year, good on you.
Do you think there's a trade-off to that though? Because they wouldn't have the head noise of like the constant internal battle we have about improving and this isn't good enough, standards need to be higher. But when you do live, let's say, a life of mediocrity, and I've yet to see someone that's completely happy with mediocrity and has got a bank account full of $1 million, unless parents have given it.
Yeah,
so do they not have head noise of, okay, my boiler's broke, fuck, I can't afford to pay for it.
Yeah.
That's in life. At some point, there's pain. Like there's no perfect solution where you can choose mediocrity. You don't have the pain and stresses of finances, mediocrity, working for someone else. You might have a boss that you hate. There's pain. There's pain somewhere in life. And that's why me and you have decided, yes, we deal with ridiculous amounts of stress at times, but that's our pain, because choosing that pain, what it relieves us of in other areas of life, we prefer that pain to all the others.
The choose is the big part there. I think it's choose your hard, isn't it? It's fucking hard trying to grow a business and scale and manage cash flow and hire and fire and implement AI and get on Whimsical and do business processes. It's hard, right? It's fucking not easy. But what also is hard is going to work 40, 45 hours a week in a shit job with a shit manager surrounded by shit people that you hate. And then you get to the weekend and you've got to, what's the right way to put this? I guess deal with the lack of choice on the weekend as well. If you want to go and ride jet skis all weekend, but you look at the bank and you haven't got the capacity to do it, that's hard.
Yeah.
That's not nice.
Yeah. So right now we're talking to people that are sat there, maybe in what they feel is mediocrity, but they want to make a change. They're change aware, would you say? And they're going, there's a better way. They might not know what it is, whether they want to start their own business, whether they need to go on a fitness journey. They're just change aware. So what tools can we give that person to help them along that journey? Because ultimately the journey starts by setting a goal. There's no way around that, because otherwise your journey might be going around in circles. So the goal is still important, but the real magic's in the journey. How can we help that person right now?
First thing for me is feel the pain of it. Feel the pain of not changing.
Nice. What do you mean by that?
Like, so again, if you're stuck in a job, you're working 40, 45 hours a week, you look at the people who are 5, 10 years ahead of you and you don't want their life, and that actually really, really negs you out if you did have their life, use and feel that pain, like soak it up and remember it, because that's the pain that's going to motivate you to make the change in the first place. The hardest place to be really is that comfortable, right? It's not shit enough where I need to make a change, but it's not great enough that I'm actually happy. You're just kind of in that middle band where it is what it is. If life's shit, you have got so much motivation to make a change, and there's no other option than to change. It's when it's just, it's okay, it's fine. Yeah, I'll do it next year. Yeah, it'll be fine. I'll get a new job next year, whatever.
Yeah.
So the first thing is feel the pain of it. And you got to kind of fabricate the pain as well. You can kind of like kid yourself into it a little bit and talk it up to yourself to then motivate you too.
Because if you let it go on for too long, like nowadays, it's knowledge and education so accessible. I think it is easier for people to change later on in life. And now where you don't need a degree to go into a career and make really good money in some sectors, I think it's a lot easier. Like old school was, you got to pick your profession, you go to university, and if you want to change, you're struggling. But there's still a time where change becomes impossible or too late to then really have success. If we're going back to what we're trying to achieve here, and that's entrepreneurship and like high performance, there's got to come a time where it is too late. So that comfort zone is the most dangerous place to be. It's like people obviously way more inclined to move away from pain than they are to pleasure. So when you're in that comfort zone, would apply you're not feeling enough pain to make a change, but you just don't have the motivation or inspiration to move towards potential further pleasure or a more pleasurable future.
I reckon a way to highlight the pain, if we're using that word still, is surround yourself with people who are already living the life you want to live. And the reason that will become more painful is because you'll feel the gap. You'll feel the gap of their energy. You'll feel the gap of their drive and what they're trying to do. Like I've had Mad say to me, like she'd be going and teaching and it'd be a bit of a shit week. And she'd go, I just want to love it like you do. Like I bowl out the door, I bowl in the door. I'm like, yeah, we did this, and this today. We got that next week. It's class. I've kind of got to temper myself down sometimes, right? Because I could just sit there literally all day and all night just talking about everything that we're doing and what impact that's going to have. And then if this goes right for us, what that's going to do. And it's oozes out of me, right, how much passion and energy I've got for this.
Yeah.
And I think, not having that as much, I think she just wishes she could have that. So if you can surround yourself with people who've got that, try and reverse engineer it, or how do they get there? What was the first step they took? Okay, they went and did some self-development. They went and did a course. They went and got a mentor. They went and spoke in a group or joined a community. And I think if we look at the theory of diminishing returns, right? That's a good word. The first couple of actions you take, they have the biggest return because everything's so new and so exciting.
Yeah.
So just by taking that one action of joining want to start a marketing agency, right? Not a world we're in, so a really good one just to use for anyone, just to use as a bit of a metaphor. The first thing to do, if you're not in marketing, is go and speak and get into other communities where people talk about marketing and absolutely love it. Can you go to events? Can you just look at stuff online? Just immerse yourself in it. The second one is then to take action, pay to play. That's the big one. Everyone always wants to do things and, there's this free course and free webinar. But just the fact it's free, psychologically, you haven't spent anything. You haven't copped any pain. So you don't give it the time and energy it deserves. If you pay $100, you will then go and invest a lot more energy. If you pay $1,000, you'll fucking write down every single word. If you go and pay $10,000 for whatever course it is in marketing agency, you are going to obsess over every single detail. You're going to prep right for the event. You're not going to get on the piss the night before. You're going to have your note taker. You're going to have your follow-up plans. You're going to speak to people in the room. You're going to network just because you've made that conscious investment to go and be there.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Two Blokes, One Business podcast.
Now, apart from being world-class podcasters, we also run a recruitment agency called Harwell.
If you're keen to learn a little bit more about what we do, then head over to our Instagram at Harwell Group and check us out.
Back to the app.
Yeah, so if someone sat there and really wants to make change and thinking about how they can do that, you're almost saying that, yes, you got to start with a few small steps, but to really pivot and implement serious change, you need to get to a point where the investment's so high you can't not use it.
And then it's a decision. Okay, am I kidding myself here or do I actually want this?
Yeah. One thing you said, you're talking about the story of where you come home and like you're bursting with pride and joy and it's like, Mads just wants to feel that. And someone listening is probably going, well, yeah, that's great, but you guys are 2.5 years in. Mm-hmm. But to get to that point where you feel like that every single day, where even the shit stuff that happens, and shit stuff happens all the time. Ads has just spent an hour this morning calling people that owe us copious amounts of money. So that's not fun. But we still look at that as a positive. So this life is quite freeing, but that all started by us taking a plunge and starting when we didn't feel ready.
And being delusionally optimistic and energetic and passionate about it before we had a reason to.
Yeah.
That's a really key one as well. It's easy to be passionate because, there's good money in the business. It's easy to be passionate because you've got a team of 10. No, we were obscenely passionate and confident and committed before Harvey was even registered as a name. That's why.
AJ Williams broke it down really well, didn't he? When he came on this podcast of to suss out a business product or an idea, you need to have that personal investment. Like when he was selling sunglasses, they made a shit ton of money early on, but after the original kind of dopamine hit of making the money wore off, he was like, I'm not attached to this. So maybe that's where people need to start. It's find something that you're super passionate about, because then you've got the investment where we were, like I said, delusionally optimistic from day one, which makes it makes starting when you don't feel ready a lot easier, because fucking spoiler alert, you'll never feel ready. Like there is never a time where you go, oh, all the stars have aligned, now I'm ready. So if you wait until you feel ready, you're never going to do it.
And I think your brain's so good at keeping you safe. Like we had that fear episode a couple of weeks ago. There's going to be so many legitimate, logical, reasonable reasons why you should not start the business. There always will be, for sure. You've actually got to be a little bit unreasonable. And then to make that unreasonable come through, you've got to do an unreasonable amount of work and effort and acquire so many skills and increase your knowledge to get to a point where actually now it's unreasonable not for it to work as well.
And confidence comes from doing it every single day. Like I built up so much trust with myself. People will always say we're confident people in certain areas, but there were definitely areas in my life I had zero confidence. My relationship and trust with myself was absolutely in tatters at one point. So by making a change, or whether it was a fitness journey or not drinking booze for 6 months, that built up self-trust and confidence with myself to then know, okay, we can go and set a business goal, and I've got the confidence in that goal because I know the mechanics of how to turn up every day and how to stay disciplined from a challenge of just fucking not drinking for 6 months. How do we pull in the correlation between Harv not drinking for 6 months, making him a much better person and giving him tools to go and grow this business alongside you way quicker? You'd never make that connection. But until you actually go and just start somewhere and learn those skills, you'll never will make that connection.
It's just mental, isn't it? Like it's not logical, and it's not one in, one out in terms of output and then input with this kind of stuff. Like as soon as you start, and again, I get woo-woo with this, like I believe in the universe massively, right? And if you just give it absolutely everything, shit happens for you. People come into your life and they help. Like the identity of the person you become, like going back to what the whole episode's about, right? It's not about setting the goal and achieving the goal, great, on to the next. It's about that person along the way and the identity you become. You went from, again, using your marathon, oh yeah, I'm Harvey and I'll go for a few runs. So at some point along that journey, yeah, I'm Harvey, I'm a runner. Simple change of word, massive impact on your own mindset and identity of who you are. So then when Powley's saying, hey, Harvey, you've had a good week, let's go and smack 10 beers at Burley Pav, mate, I've got 32 Ks in the morning because I'm a runner. Rather than, I'll go for runs, yeah, I can just drop one of them. It's so powerful, that. Yeah,
I like that. I think that's a really, really good analogy. And in very basic terms, the shit that seemed really hard all of a sudden just becomes part of your daily routine. And when you try and climb that mountain in very, very small chunks, those small chunks and milestones, when you set them, feel so achievable. And then you get there and it feels good. So you do the next one, and then you do the next one. And then you look back, and that whole entire mountain that you've climbed, if you'd have tried with the end goal where you are today, if you'd have set that as your goal at day one, you'd never have done it, hey?
Then what about the power of people? So you start running. Yeah, obviously did your run clubs on a Sunday morning where everyone used to rock up?
Mate, they got busy at one point. It was mental.
There was literally no one there. I would do a selfie video going, yeah, guys, you ready to run? Spin the camera around by himself. Very good. But over time, mate, you then got the run club with the dogs.
Oh, the dog. That dog run club.
Who are all in the same boat, right? None of them are triathletes and runners who've been doing it for years. Everyone just started going, okay, well, I'm going to join half for a 5 and then a 10. And obviously before we know it, we had Jake and Riley join up and just do the marathon, just because they were in that environment. You created that feeling where you've dragged people with you, and now they're doing that kind of stuff too. And that happens vice versa. You were the leader of that one, but there's other ways where if you just start, you're then going to find other people who are also on the journey with you, hopefully a little bit further ahead. So you can take some of their kind of slipstream and just progress even faster as well. And then you start hanging around with those people. Okay, yes, running's the metaphor we're using here, but after what we've spoken about, if they're runners and they're committing to marathons, what's the rest of their life look like?
Yeah.
They're probably not sat on Netflix eating KFC every night. They're probably eating quite well. So then when you go for brekkie afterwards, rather than get the double bacon egg, extra hash brown and a chocolate thick shake, you're probably going to go for avocado on toast and a long black. Great decision. And then what's the rest of their life? Okay, so they've got, a business or a job that they do perform well in. Okay, it's another habit I can kind of try and incorporate into my life as well. So the more that one first action changes your current state and moves you into a new world, things just snowball and escalate so quick if you want them to and if you allow them to as well.
Yeah. Let's talk about fear of failure, because that was incredible. That's an awesome process, and it's a great way to explain it and the benefits, and that's when it works. Number one thing that stops people starting is the fear of failing, whether that's fear of people thinking they failed, whether that's fear of internal failure, feeling like they're not worthy as a result of it. Let's unpack it.
The biggest one for me is the perception of failure in other people's eyes. Or it's not, it's yourself, right? I'm actually not even too sure which one scares me more. Do other people think that I'm shit because I failed, or do I think I'm shit because I'm failed? Yeah. I'm actually not sure what scares me more. I guess it depends what it is.
Yeah.
If it's something that I think I'm good at, then I think my own fear is bigger.
Yeah.
If it's something that I know I'm not good at, if you said go and run 50Ks tomorrow, and I said I need to go and I'm going to run 50Ks, and I didn't, I wouldn't give a shit if Rosie in the corner said, you can't run, you're crap. Because I'd be like, yeah, well, I didn't think I could anyway. You know?
Yeah. I'm just trying to think how people can reframe fear of failure. Because really, whether they get the end goal or not, they've not failed because they've actually had a crack. So I'm thinking, rather than focus on, okay, I set that goal, I didn't get it. But how many other people didn't have a crack? How many people am I currently better than because I've took myself along this journey, regardless of the end outcome? I can guarantee you, if you have a crack and it's a challenge over 30, 60 or 90 days, you're going to be 30, 60 or 90 days ahead of everyone else in your network, in your circle or your industry that didn't try. So that's the real winning.
And that's why 75 Hard was so popular, or is still popular.
Yeah.
Because it's a long enough time to set good habits, and you can see the progress and the change along the way as well. Nira Karabah, actually, Sasha's misso, did a really, really good one. She's going hard on content at the moment. They're changing up their marketing, their branding, and doing a lot of video content, right? And I think for anyone, but particularly females, it seems like when you are doing that, you get a lot of fucking knobs and haters in the comments, right? And then she did a really good one talking about the people who are mocking you, making fun of you, giving you shit on that kind of stuff when you have a crack, are the people who will fucking clap and absolutely be buzzing if their manager lets them leave 10 minutes early from work. How good is that? Because it's so right. Someone's going out there, busting their ass, building a business, having a crack, and the people to throw shit on them are people, their boss buys them a coffee and they think that's the best thing in the world.
Yeah, it's bizarre, isn't it? I'm just thinking, because the people that take the piss or talk negatively of us, for example, they're the ones that never ever would go and try what we've tried. And the people that have done what we've done and done it more successfully than us, even though we're along the journey and they're probably way more wiser and more intelligent than us, when they see us having a crack, they're your biggest fans.
And even downstream, right? Like Buddha, lad we used to play football with, awesome guy, real good fella, got a family, hard-working guy, nicest fella you ever meet. Started his own kind of Sparky business, Sparky HQ, Buds. Sparky HQ, Buddha. There's a shout out for you, mate. 10 million followers, just going to hear that. So I saw that and I was like, fuck, I probably need to get my aircons clean right coming to summer. But bang, straight away, mate, not sure if you do this, if you got capacity to do it, would love to help you out. Can you come and do this? Bang, came round, got them done. Awesome. Posted some on my Instagram. I said, mate, tag me in that. I'll share it. Just so I know how hard it is to have a crack. And everyone just does that for anyone. If you're a half decent person and you've been through that pain and that process, and then you see someone else about to go through it, if you don't want to reach out and help that person out, I guess that's a fucking episode for another podcast, right? In terms of what's wrong with you. But people want to help good people who have a crack for the most part. I think
trying to change, make a big change, whether it's like an identity shift or whatever it might be, I think it's a really good, it's like a friend audit.
Oh, I think it's trademark.
Yeah. I think it's a really good way to find out who your real ones are. Because I think the people that really fucking care for you and give a shit will do everything they can. They'll cheer you on and they'll do everything they can to help you. and make it a success and give you the confidence. The people that aren't friends with you for the right reasons and want to keep you down there are the ones that be like, oh, don't think you should do that. Oh, I think you should just stay in the comfort zone.
Because that's more about them.
Yeah, because they're friends with you because you're at the same level or they feel like you're slightly below them, and you being there probably validates them. Now, the risk for them is you go and make this big change and you flourish and grow and become a different person and have that identity shift, which then highlights their incapabilities or their insecurities.
And you go meet the new people and the new hobbies or the new
100%.
way of working that you're doing as well. It's sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I'm not sad in like a pity way. It's sad that, or not in an angry way, sorry. It's sad that actually happens, and it does all the time. Like Mads is obviously firing up Solid Supply Co, right, at ecom business. She puts a story up. Next 5-6 stories I see on Instagram is all of our friends sharing it, and that's real people. Right? They're not owed anything. They don't need to do that, but they know how hard she's worked and how much she wants it. So they're going to take 2 seconds just to go bang bang reshare, and that means the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And like even look at Mads going on that journey from being a teacher to now having her own business. Whether Solly Supply Co works or doesn't work, she has now gained and acquired experience and skills and learned so many things that she can do so much more than what she could have done at the start of that journey. So whether Solly works or not, she's the real winner, because how much further along is she than the 20 other teachers that are still in that school? Not that's like some people like that. That's not a dig at teachers.
Even just the knowledge of your world. She now knows the world's actually a bit bigger than she thought it was 6-9 months ago. She knows about e-com and how things work and the metrics and the cost per unit. She knows a bit about the marketing strategy and content and filming them, TikTok and editing them. She understands how to speak to suppliers in China, how to negotiate, how to get good terms. She would never have done that otherwise, right? So again, fingers crossed, and I think it will go really, really well. Yeah. If it doesn't, she now knows the opportunity that's out there for her, the next idea that comes along and the one after that. And that is literally the essence of this podcast, right? For her, she's probably a great example. I'm a teacher. I want to be a full-time e-com owner with Solid Supply Co, right? Hopefully we're going to get there. I really do think we will. But if we fail at 70% of the way, she's a way better human being than she would have been without ever starting.
But even looking down at those small milestones as well, if you'd have told Mads before she even thought about Solid Supply Co, you need to negotiate with factories and suppliers over in China, she'd have never started. But at the start, the milestone was just to pull the trigger. It was just to create the name. It was to create the logo. And then you do that, which is a challenge and scary in itself because you've made the decision to change anyway. Okay, now you need to build your website. Now you need to get your accounting system. Now you need to find a supplier, negotiate with them, do designs. If that was the first thing, it would have been way fucking harder. But because the things she's learned in the first few small changes and the first few small milestones, that big thing at the end is just another small milestone in the journey.
And actually, it's a perfect metaphor because we've gone through Sasha and Nira at Ecom Capital, or she has to help and get the business set up and learn and do everything else, which was the pay to play. It cost her thousands of dollars to go and do that. But now she is in. Yeah. She hasn't just done a free course and learned a little bit and been on scrolling on TikTok while she's doing it. She is in because she knows the investment she's made. And now that's what spurred her on to keep going. Because obviously it's up and down, right? Some days and this week we've got the chairs coming, next week the first samples. Awesome. Get some awesome content. This is the good moment. But there's been times where just before we launched the full order for the chairs, oh shit, don't know, is it going to work? And then there's the lows as well. So if it was just a free, I'll give it a crack, we'll see what happens, it's so much easier to quit because she's already invested thousands of dollars. Now it's that pain again. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm down already. The only way I'll get back up is by fucking selling chairs. So let's go.
Yeah. I've got a quote for you.
Oh, God. Can you do it wrong just to make me feel better?
You don't need to feel like an entrepreneur on day one. You just need to feel like someone who shows up.
I like it. And I think mindset of that as well is serving. I think that's a really, really big one. You're not doing this for you. And if you are, let me reframe that, right? If your only purpose is just to make as much cash, great, you definitely might, and that's cool, but you're never going to build a business where you're fulfilled. You're not going to serve people in the right way or the right intention. It's not going to be how you can fix their problems, how you can increase your solution, how you can find a better way to do your business to then help more people with their problems and to have that impact. That's how you build a proper business that fulfills you. And then naturally, actually makes you more money as well because you're actually solving real problems.
It's good stuff, mate.
God, I'm inspiring myself.
Well, let's think back to before Pally went on this big journey.
I actually don't know what I've been saying these last 20 minutes. I've been like out of body experience.
Oh, God.
I've taken over again.
He's lost it finally. Is there one habit or one change that you can put your finger on in the early days that you think had the biggest impact for you? Because we've used a lot of metaphors. We've spoken a lot about people's journeys, and I'm really keen to give people listening that might be at the start and even doubting whether they're business material. I want to give them some takeaways that they can try.
Yeah, one's really clear, and it's speak to people who are further along, take their advice or get a plan from them, take their advice and follow it to the T. By doing that, you're going to impress that person because he's gone, great, you're an action taker. You can listen, understand, and then act on the information given, which 99% of people can't. And then by doing that, you're going to build trust credits in yourself because you know you can go and do that. And then because of the action you've taken, you're going to be further along the journey, which is going to motivate you further to then do the next step. Yeah. And then that person might introduce you to someone else. Before you know it, you're in these circles of people who are where you want to be, plus you've taken action, plus you've built trust.
Yeah, it's just being curious, isn't it? Go and have that conversation and acquire the information, because unless you go and seek that conversation out, that business owner, unless they're a bit of a fucking belter, is never going to sit at the family barbecue with you and say, I earn this, I do that, this is my lifestyle. But if you go and actually seek that out and go, what was the journey? What does it give you now? What does it give your family? You gain a side and you gain information that you never knew. And then you start to run with that. Okay, well, how could that affect my life? And then you start to put potential tangible outcomes on what that could do. And then the first few steps do feel a bit easier.
What's your one?
Self-reflection and actually deciding what you want and being willing to sacrifice. When we're talking about entrepreneurship or changing your habits and routine or lifestyle, you can't do it all. I couldn't be Harv that co-founded one of the fastest growing businesses in Australia with Pauli if I still wanted to be Harv that fucking headbutted 20 pints on a weekend. They just don't go hand in hand. I enjoy both of those things. But what did I really want more? I wanted the business journey. I wanted the lifestyle it would give us. I wanted the lifestyle it would give our families and the experiences. So there comes a time where you've got to sacrifice the other side of that. I had to let that Harv die for 99% of the time. We still have fun every now and then, but that had to be the trade-off. So until someone can have that conversation with themselves and actually decide what path do I want to go down, I don't think there's any point in starting.
And I guess fun's probably not the greatest word to use, because I think arguably we have more fun doing the cool shit we do in business.
We do, and I guess I'm arguing the trade-off of you can't go and do the real successful business stuff if you want to be out bendering on the weekend. If you want to be out bendering every weekend and doing that with your mates, and that is the most important thing to you, that's fine. But I think become comfortable with perhaps entrepreneurship might not be a journey for you. And
again, like I said at the start, if that's what happiness is for you, genuinely, not just service level because it's easy, you have won, my friend. Oh shit, here we go. I always do this. The idea pops into my head and I have to try and say it out loud. But it's about the guy who, businessman from the city, goes down to like a seaside village.
I know this.
Do you know the one?
Yeah, fucking let's have it.
And then he goes down and finds the fisherman. And he goes out morning and night, just himself, throws in, brings some fish back in, sells them next day. Off he goes. Does quite well for himself. Spends time with his family, life's good. And he says to the guy, the fisherman, he says, why don't you get 2 boats? And then you can get twice the amount of fish. And then you can make even more money. And then when you've got 2 boats, you can then go and buy a full fleet. And then you can have, 10 boats, 10 fishermen on. You can bring them all back in. And then you can sell that, make good money. And then you can buy general manager. And then he can go and, look after the business. And then you can be at home and spend time with your family. And he's like, I already do that. I've obviously butchered it a little bit.
No, I think
but the principle, right, is the guy knew what he wanted out of life, and that was to fish in the morning, sell the fish, spend time with his family. So then the business guy comes in. He's like, well, if you grow and scale, you can do this and you can make some money. And then when you got the money, you can reinvest. And then you can get the business to run itself. And then you can spend time with your family. Yeah. Like, it really hit home, that one, because it's like, what actually are you trying to achieve? What's actually the core outcome that you're trying to win?
And that's a great example of if someone's just doing it for money. I think we've we've had a lot of really cool people on this podcast, and the one thing that shone through with all of them, the reason they started their business was a mission bigger than money.
Mm.
Ben Handler had started his buyer's agency for a mission to represent buyers in Australia professionally, so they didn't get screwed over by sales agents. AJ Williams started a sauna brand because he was on a mission to increase people's mental health because he's had, he's suffered himself. Rebecca Aidhill went on a mission to empower women to live a more flexible and free life because that's what going into business did for her. They all started with a bigger mission than I'm going to sell saunas and try and make $10 million a year. And that's why it's successful. The businesses you see that go out just to make money, I think, are the ones that fail because people make bad decisions as a result of it.
It's short-term thinking, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's all about how do I get from A to B rather than how do I get to that long-term goal and serve as well.
Yeah. We started Harwell. In my last year in big global corporate, I billed $650,000 for the company. And with my salary and comms, I earned $120,000. Now, we left that not because of the money. We left because we felt there were better ways to service people, more ethical ways to service people. And we knew that if we filled 5 or 6 jobs a year, which is like a quarter of what we were doing, we would earn the same money. But we went out with the mission of doing recruitment better on the Gold Coast in our sectors. And the Gold Coast is a place we're passionate about, and our sectors are something we're really passionate about. So the mission was a better service and a better experience for companies and job seekers. That was the mission. The mission was never AFR fucking fastest growing companies, which we don't know if that will happen, but we think we might have a chance.
We've got a live question. So we've got a question from, it's in Rosie.
Hang on, should we spin the mic round? Rosie, come and ask it into the mic.
So obviously you had your original mission. Has your mission changed? And if so, what was the turning point? What was the moment that you realised your mission changed?
It's a great question.
Great question.
Mission's definitely changed.
Yeah.
Because we've got the potential to do it. We had this chat with Jess Cameron and I did. I think we both did actually. Why do we want to go and start this new business, right? Why do we want to do a podcast? Why do we want to grow Harwell? It's because we can. Like, we know that we've got tools, the knowledge, the experience, the work ethic, the relationships to go and do it. So not to do it, I just feel like I'm cheating myself, particularly at this stage of life. If you're 50, right, and everything's set, maybe different. So the mission changed, yes, purely because we just blasted through what we thought was possible. And then that built us a level of trust in ourselves. It built us a level of confidence that we can put bets on ourselves and get them right. What's the mission now? That's a good question.
We did it the other day.
You go. Yeah, for Harwell?
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, yeah, good timing. We've just laid this out with Steve Krebs from EOS, the Entrepreneur Operating System. So our 10-year BHAG is to help 1,000 Aussie businesses hire staff that drives performance in their business.
Have it.
Have
it. My answer to Rosie's question. When did the mission change and what did it change to? I think the first change in the mission was we saw 2 parts. We saw the impact it had on mine and Ads' life and how much we loved this. And we thought we're not doing other people a justice if we don't build a platform where other people can come and experience the same things. So it started with Andy and Chloe, who are obviously really good friends of ours. And we're like, if we can bring them into an environment where they can feel the same kind of sense of belonging and the fun we have, and you don't have the Sunday scaries, we're like, we need to be able to offer that to them as well. But then I think as well, we validated what we thought could be done in recruitment. Like, we always thought there was the better way, but I think we genuinely validated it and it worked. And then it was probably a case of, we're probably doing people a disjustice on the Gold Coast, which is an area we're super, super passionate about, if we don't go and build out a scale where more businesses can experience this. Because we're not just helping our staff and changing their lives. The impact we can have on the right senior leaders in businesses changes the lives of the founders and the leaders of those businesses as well. So for me, it was the scale and a bigger mission to do it at a much bigger volume, I'd say. Yeah. And now the mission, with the new education business, the mission is beyond that and going, well, let's go out to the world and give people an online education platform of tools that they could go on this same journey as well. So it's going at even bigger scale.
Literally the exact frameworks of what we did to get to this point.
Yeah.
Just chucked them all out. We would do the same.
I think that's the first teaser.
I think it is. I reckon next step we just fucking let
Let them have it. Yeah.
I'm actually
Great.
wearing the t-shirt as well.
Oh my God.
Shit.
Great question, Rosie. I like that.
Anyone else in the audience? No.
Oh,
Oh God. Oh yeah. Did I get your phone number last week?
hello, I'm the girl from the cafe.
If someone hasn't listened to that episode, they don't have a fucking clue.
Oh God.
But mate, that's been a good one. I think it's so important, right, to be scared and do it anyway. Leading back into that fear one. Set big goals. Absolutely give it everything you've got and know that you have deep down. If you don't get there for whatever reason, that is not a failure. The person you become along the way is way further along, way more equipped to go and do more bigger goals than you would have been.
And I think if people adopt that mindset, I think more people will start because it's not failure. I might not achieve this goal. I might, and it's going to feel great, but I might not. But I know deep down, I'm going to come out the end of this a much better person for myself, my family, my kids, whatever it might be, my friends. That's super powerful. I think more people will actually start if that's the mindset and the mission they go on.
And find your cheerleaders. Find the people who genuinely want you to improve and evolve and develop.
Yeah.
And they'll push you on because you're not always going to be so confident with it and bulletproof. You know, there's going to be times where you think, shit, have I taken too much on here? Why don't I just slip back into the old version? And that's when you need the people around you who believe in you to give you that bit of a shake and go, nah, this is one of the low points. Let's get you back onto one of the high points.
Which you have anyway, right? You fucking have that. You go through times in your job where you hate it and you go through times where you love it. So
Just laughing at it.
there you go. Have it.
That was a good one.
Hopefully.
With great responsibility comes great power.
That was good.
Fucking so
Yeah, let's do it again.
All right. See you next
See you next week.
week.
Fucking hell, go on.